Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue, and I write for Guns of the Old West magazine. And today we're out on the range with my original Remington Rolling Block military rifle. Now, this particular rifle was made in the early 1870s, and it's chambered in the .43 Spanish round, which is very similar to the .44-77 civilian cartridge, but this is a very robust black powder cartridge. The rifle itself is a strong rolling block action. It's operated by cocking the hammer, opening the breech block, inserting a cartridge, closing the breech, and then firing, or placing it on half cock for safety. This is one of the strongest single shot actions ever made, and we're going to take it out and put it through its paces. The Rolling Block rifle is the gun that saved Remington, and there is no doubt about that. Remington made a lot of money during the Civil War, and they had a lot of contracts, but I can tell you from experience, as having been a military consultant for a while, the best customer you can ever have is the United States government, and the worst customer you can ever have is the United States government. And Remington found that out to their peril, because when the Civil War was over, the government canceled all of its outstanding arms contracts. Save some money, right? But if you were an arms manufacturer and you'd already invested in getting those arms made and stockpiled and ready to go, or raw materials, man, you were in big trouble. And Remington was in big trouble. They could hardly give their stock away because there was so much surplus weaponry around. I mean, everybody had handguns from the war, or surplus handguns. They could hardly give those away. Their rifles, the revolving carbine, was a huge flop. But they came up with this very soon after the Civil War, and they marketed it to militaries all over the world. It ended up not being bought by the American military in favor of the Trapdoor Springfield, which I think this is a way better gun right here. But militaries all over the planet bought these things, and they bought them right through the early 20th century, and this is what kept Remington afloat through the bad times of the last third of the 19th century, where they were on the verge of bankruptcy a lot. So this gun has had quite a storied career. Now, this was the second most popular rifle out on the buffalo fields after the Sharps. And I'll be honest with you, I prefer Rolling Blocks to Sharps. I mean, the action is just so simple. It only has a few moving parts. Now, I bought this gun a year ago. And when I did, I told you I was going to do some things to it. And I did. And I've just been so busy that I haven't had a chance to give you another look at it. The trigger pull on this was about 18 pounds, which was ridiculous. So I had to lighten down to about 7, which is still not as good as I want. Going any farther would require recutting the sear and the hammer to give a better engagement. And I'm just not in the mood to do that right now. I can live with the 7-pound pull. The other thing I did is I replaced the awful factory sight with this marble adjustable sight, lollipop sight. This takes various inserts for finer apertures. So I've got about the biggest one in here right now, but I'll probably be fining that up with one of the smaller apertures as we get to shooting today. It's fully adjustable for windage and elevation. This one is made for the Remington Rolling Block, and because it was a military model, if it was a civilian model, it would have already been drilled and tapped for it. It required drilling and tapping a hole in the tang here to mount the stock, which I had a gunsmith do. And I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but the original front sight was very badly worn down. So I had my gunsmith, Rich Woodward. I'm going to try to get that, see if you can see it. Rich Woodward make me a new front sight that was the same size and basically the same configuration as the factory front sight, but it's got a little green dot in it, which just makes it much more visible. A little addition to it is this Galco buttstock sleeve cartridge holder, and that adds a little bit of height to it, which I could use. I mean, this buttstock is actually on the small side for me. I could probably use as much as another inch on this, and I may restock this at some point, but this gives me a little more height, which is what I need really to get a good sight picture when using these sights. So it's helpful to me. So until I get it restocked, I like having the original wood, but I would just like it to fit better. So I'm kind of on the fence about that. But until then, this little band works great, and it allows me to carry some ammo on the gun, which is always helpful. So you never know when the hostiles are going to attack. So let's get to shooting this thing. Well, we've got the Remington Rolling Block, and we've got some of these big old 43 Spanish shells. I see Evil Roy sneaking up on us 50 yards away. So let's see if we can ring his chimes with some of this big lead. I love shooting this big iron. Well, let's see what sort of an impact a 43 Spanish bullet will have on a water jug. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I've seen people use rolling pins to make pumpkin pie, but I'm going to try to start the process off with a rolling block. Well, looks like instead of making pumpkin pie filling, I carved a jack-o'-lantern. Well, I got the eye holes in, and the top's coming off. All I need to do now is cut a smile on them, and I guess I'm ready for Halloween. Well, we'll finish off with the bad guy's view of the Remington Rolling Block rifle.